Hello and welcome back, disc golf enthusiasts from around the world, to the exciting conclusion of the 2024 Copenhagen Open. This is round 3 back 9 MPO lead card coverage brought to you by MDG Media. In only 9 holes, we will find out who will be crowned your next Disc Golf Pro Tour Elite Series champion, a prestigious and coveted title. I'm Connor Wood, and with me, Elias Luukkonen.
What's up, Connor? What's up, viewers? Nice to be here once again for the very exciting back 9. We have a tight situation on our card, but also with the other cards. Yes, Nieminen is still leading the tournament, but not by much. There are so many talented players from the chase card, from the third card even, making a huge push on Jesse right now. And even everybody on our card within 2 strokes. It's going to be an amazing finish for this Elite Series event. And we're going to be starting off on hole number 10. That is a hole that you really would like to birdie if you need to keep pace with the leaders. You know that this hole is one that you need to get at least a chance at birdieing. 111 meters, most prominent obstacle on this course being the last tree that you have to get under somehow, either with the backhand or with the forehand.
And we see from this chase card, check-in Hjalte opting for the backhand flex. The late stability gets him into that window of height, allowing him access to the green. And he's left with that short putt. A great example of how to play this hole, although very fortunate to find that late skip. A lot of players with a similar shot won't always find that. We will see Jesse currently holding the lead, Eetu rather, on the tee.
Similar route as what Hjalte was going for and gets a big skip. Surprising, I think he flew far enough. The grass on the right side of the basket is very thick, but if you fly enough to get over the grass, then you're going to get some bigger skips.
Really common outcome, hitting that grass you were touching on for Niklas. And Jesse actually taking a very open but less commonly chosen route here. Beautiful forehand hyzer skip. He uses the width. And I do think, Elias, of all of the gaps available, that is the biggest one. It's just not everyone's comfortable shaping the forehand in that way.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the forehand may be a little bit more dangerous at the very end of the flight, as you can push those backside bushes. But also with the backhand, that can easily happen, as Paul Ulibarri showed us. Important putt here to keep pace, but another miss. I feel like his putting hasn't been as good as it usually is.
And with players like these right here, it's going to be difficult to maintain the pace. Niklas pushing himself to 6 under through the first 10 holes, now with 4 birdies in a row. We see that danger you touched on earlier, Elias. That rough to the left can be pretty unforgiving. Jesse, however, fading just in time with his forehand, finds himself parked for birdie. A very good one to pick up. Hole 10, one of the many holes playing under par at 2.71. 42% of the field was able to find the birdie here in this final round, so definitely one you want. And we'll continue here to hole 11. Slightly harder birdie. This short par 4 plays initially as a tunnel shot. Players will need to pierce through this triple mando, where they're then met with a series of very small gaps. Any progress off the tee past the triple mando will really open up your approach, as you can then swing sideways into this well-guarded green. This one playing really quick as far as the greens here in Valby Park can do. Very good speed control is required on the second shot, but we'll get another look at the chase card.
Hjalte going for the regular shot, which is the low forehand. Comes out a little bit early though. And let's see Roland with a similar looking shot, but a little bit better, hitting the mando and pushing it through much further than Hjalte. And Hjalte did miss the mando, going with the aggressive forehand roller from here.
These Danish locals love the forehand roller here, and Hjalte has done well to manufacture a birdie look from a very out of position shot. Roland, however, very much in position.
Yep, forehand being the shot of choice for the second shot as well. Let's see Hjalte here for an incredible par save from outside the circle, and that's going to be good for the 4. That's one of the most impressive saves I have seen throughout the entire tournament on any hole.
And we see Roland here for birdie. Beautiful. Stripes it to the pole. This hole has a lot of dangers, but with a clean tee shot, you can mitigate the risk of most of them. We'll see Niklas up first.
Going with the less conventional backhand and showing why. That's such a comfortable shot for Niklas, as he's from the woods of Kuopio, one of his home courses, offering a lot of shots like this. Just tight tunnels, need to keep it perfectly straight. Let's see if Jesse, who is from the same area, can do it with a forehand, and doesn't look like he can.
But does receive a green flag. He looks a bit perplexed by that. Unsure what sort of angle he'll be left with, but pretty much in par save mode from that position. We see Eetu here has birdied 4 of the last 5. And he also flips this backhand up beautifully, right into that sweet spot where you're far enough straight, you have a lateral sideways look, the most open route into the green.
And Paul with the sidearm a little bit early on the release, I think. This is a great hole for Paul, I think, as he has that nice, smooth and accurate sidearm, though not quite his ideal shot, and he's going with another forehand roller. Much tougher angle, though, from here compared to, what is it, from the drop zone. And Jesse, he's just short of the Mando.
Okay, he did not kick as far as the initial angle may have suggested, and fantastic positioning. What a touchy roller there as he weaves his way up into the green and into the circle even.
Yeah, just showcasing how much touch he has with the forehand on any sort of angle, even the roller, as Paul is doing a similar job. Good flex shot from the knee.
Eetu here going to have an open look into this green. As open of a look as you can get on this hole. Comes in a little bit hot. You see that fast green I mentioned earlier, but sits down well in his range. Niklas here dropping to a knee to open up the ceiling. Will give him just a little bit more room to work with. And you can see him taking advantage of that there.
Yeah, good job there. And let's see, Jesse. This would be an incredible birdie save if he is able to put this in for the birdie. And of course he is. His putter has been so consistent, not only throughout this round, but also throughout the entire weekend so far.
Yeah, incredible. And you see just how complete his game is at the moment. If you watch the front 9, you heard us speak about how he's throwing more backhands than he ever has, known as an incredibly touchy forehand guy. And then here on this weekend, Jesse proving he has all the putts as well. Eetu Tuominen, another player who's looked really solid on the green from what we've seen. And not so solid from Niklas there with that short miss, with Jesse capitalizing on the birdie, just going to separate a little bit from Niklas now at a critical moment.
Yeah, that's so surprising. Anytime you see Niklas going to that short range pitch putt with his arm perfectly straight, you can almost already write it down as a made putt. That is super rare, and in a critical moment. Especially moving on to the last stretch of the course that offers, not that much difficulty. This hole 12 is probably the most difficult out of the holes remaining, as we have 205 meters. Playing as a par 4, you have a couple of options off the tee. You can go for a big Anheuser backhand off the tee if you feel like it. You can go for a low backhand through the tunnel, or even a low forehand, or even a roller. Really anything that gets you to the open field, and from there it's really just a forehand hyzer. Let's see, Hjalte here from the chase card going for the low power forehand. This is looking really good.
And he's given himself this straight look, even pushed it a bit too far off the tee shot, but it's enough to go with another forehand into the green and into the bullseye. Light work here on this 205-meter hole. Tunnel shot effectively on the first two shots with how small those gaps can be. Jesse, however, currently tied for first at this point in the tournament.
And hitting the gap pretty well there. He didn't get a whole lot of distance, but that's not exactly what he needs, because Jesse has enough power on his forehand hyzer that he can easily reach the green from there. Eetu also with a very smooth shot.
Yeah, and that will certainly play right out there in the open field. Gonna have a little bit of bending around the corner to do remaining, but very solid position. I think a lot of players would take that position every time if they could. And Niklas as well, right in there. You can see that low ceiling preventing them from getting anything too far up there. And Paul. He's been playing this roller. And as he lays it down, we'll see it curl up potentially a bit too early. But he's in play. He'll just have a harder shot into the green.
Yeah, pretty impressive to fit a roller through that tight gap, but he's very good at those. Let's see Niklas choosing the backhand Anheuser shot. This is a tricky shot. You need the perfect angle for this to glide all the way down to the green. And as you can see, not quite the perfect angle for him. He put too much Anheuser on it, and after the cut roll, that's gonna be on the far edge of circle 2.
Looking uphill as well for Niklas will feel like a very long distance putt. Eetu here looking to shape that Annie around the corner, and look at this thing stable out at the end of the flight. Oi oi oi, Eetu Tuominen. What a throw.
Yeah, incredible. Surprisingly going with the forehand backhand combo on this hole and not the other way around. And let's see Jesse here. I think he's gonna be a little bit wide. He's trying to make the disc finish more to the right. And yeah, he's gonna be, I believe, on the edge of circle 1 there.
And this is Paul's shot from the most pinched angle. Was a bit closer than the others, and that spike hyzer forehand will get him into the circle. Nice creativity and, again, solid course knowledge. Not a course he's played too many times before this weekend, and really nice awareness there on that completely blind shot. We see Niklas with this long bid to the green now.
Yeah, just playing a little bit too far to make a great effort on. This one though, 10.5 meters, really important putt. Perfect for Jesse's step putt, and that's money. Perfectly on the low left side. These baskets always are gonna catch that low left side with a steep, or with a deep cage, excuse me.
And look at Jesse's scorecard. When you're in first and playing like that, makes it really hard for anyone to catch you. Paul, though, he's going to be giving it every effort he can in the remaining holes to try and close that gap. Fantastic putts here on hole 12.
And Eetu as well. I mean, after his kind of lackluster start going over par in the first 3 holes, he has been stacking the birdies up. Already gone -7 after the first 3 holes.
Our lead card now finds himself on hole 13. A 75-meter par 3 presenting as a straight shot, although it provides a lot of options. The fairway fades right to left and slopes downwards with that OB road on the left lining the entire fairway. A lot of players will choose to throw a forehand with an overstable low-speed disc to try and counteract and mitigate the risk of OB left, and perhaps shape a nice hyzer flip or flex down the gap. You can also go wide left and go more overstable playing for the skip. Really just up to your preference. I think Jesse, though, very strong on that hyzer flip straight shot.
Yeah, this is his bread and butter. You know, that's low disc, slight hyzer out of the hand, and that's the perfect shot. You can't really do it any better. Even avoided the small root that I believe Jakub hit in round 2 to get a terrible roll out of bounds.
That was a nasty one. Some of these greens can be very bumpy here in Valby Park. Eetu as well, shaping a nearly identical line right up into the circle. Very well done. Fun fact, this Valby Park land is actually repurposed from what used to be a landfill. So you see little pieces of glass and porcelain popping out of the ground always. And a really nice repurposing of a beautiful piece of land now available for disc golf.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty common practice in Europe, at least in Finland. A lot of the best disc golf courses being on former landfill grounds. As we're seeing Niklas with another beautiful forehand. 3 of the Finns throwing quite perfect shots here, and Paul, a little bit surprisingly, leaving it out to the right and hitting the trees.
And he gives that a bid, I think, knowing he kind of is running out of time to try and close the gap, but very ambitious there, and still some distance left for him here, about 7 or so meters, but he's good for it.
Yep, good comebacker there, and let's see all 3 other players just within pretty much tap-in distance. No more than 5 meters left for anyone. On a hole that you would really like to birdie, it's playing as one of the easier holes on the course, averaging 0.3 strokes below par for the entire field. So that's a super low average for an Elite Series event hole.
Most certainly, I think these short par 3s could potentially be looked at as areas to increase the difficulty of Valby Park, but personally I really like some of these shorter, more technical holes, and just keeps a very nice balance on the Pro Tour in regards to shot shapes that are required.
Yeah, for sure, and we also have some of these longer holes, or at least holes that require some longer shots, like hole number 14. The longer shot being the tee shot, you need a certain bit of distance. Maybe anything over 100 meters is good. Ideally, you want to get closer to 120 or 130. Don't get too close to the tree line on the left though, as you are trying to get over it on your second shot, either with a spike hyzer backhand, spike hyzer forehand. You can even see some grenades or overhands. Usually the approach being just a backhand spike hyzer.
Jesse is riding the momentum of his solo lead position, the energy of the crowds, the sunlight on this beautiful weekend, and with 5 birdies in a row, he's put himself in position to try and find a 6th. Eetu as well, with a lot of green on that scorecard, keeps this inside, but well safe of the Mando tree, and good piercing shot as well.
Yeah, Eetu is just dialed in right now, and even kind of getting the better of Niklas in the last 9 holes, and Niklas needs this birdie, likely to keep pace with the other players on the card. He will have a good chance from there. Let's see, Paul. He has been going for kind of a, low flip up here, and he's trying to do that again. That's a good shot. Everybody is in good position. Now it's all about just aiming the approach correctly, getting the correct distance and width on it.
And Niklas will be up first. Really nice weather, but still offers a potential read to the other players on how the disc is flying up there. And if that's any indication, it's pretty good scoring conditions right now. Niklas drops it to about 5 or so meters. Really great management of that narrow entrance to the green. Jesse now, a big moment.
Trying to get over all of the trees and drop down right next to Niklas. He's gonna be a little bit long left from his point of view. Gonna be a tricky putt, not quite as close as he would like to be. And Paul Ulibarri here, also trying to do the same exact shot. Very difficult to film. Didn't quite see where that disc ended up.
But super cool drone shot. I'll say that gives an idea to our viewers who maybe haven't played this hole before, what sort of shape these guys are looking for. Eetu now, as he crashes his way in, going to be likely collecting another birdie. Just on fire right now, this young talent, particularly from your home country of Finland, Elias. A lot of great players being produced.
Yeah, for sure. As we see Paul here with an incredible putt falling down to the ground. That's what we call in Finland a Juho Rantalaiho putt, as Juho Rantalaiho is a legendary player who kind of introduced that. Now Jesse from Circle's Edge, from the bushes. What are we seeing? Incredible, just a putting clinic on this hole.
Stone cold with the Reiko X in his hand. Pure focus and determination. The man is not missing on the green right now.
And Eetu as well. Very solid putt. He's making easy work of those. You know, those kind of, they can be kind of tester putts if you're not used to being in this situation in the lead card. But I feel like his putting has been pretty much perfect throughout the round.
Yeah, I would agree. In certain circumstances, these shorter, more easy putts can certainly become more difficult in the high-pressure moments, but routine and good mental focus are two things which can really support those potentially stressful putts. We move to hole 15, a 118-meter par 3 with a late tunnel here. Players will be looking to enter this with either a hyzer flip or soft flex turnover and try to land as flat as possible. I think the most difficult thing is to keep your disc flat at the long distance of 118 meters. Any skip to the right or left will greatly increase the difficulty of your putt. But for the guys at the top level, this is another opportunity to find a birdie.
Yes, with a turnover forehand, making the disc turn as much as he did really makes the gap a little bit smaller at the very end, as the disc is taking up more space from left to right, and he's not going to be parked. He's going to have some sort of a look from circle 2, I believe.
And Eetu pushes the right side, but this is a penetrating fast shot, and look at that. Comes back just in time into the bullseye. Complete dissection of this difficult long hole. Niklas in previous rounds has been preferring this turnover, aiming it at the left side of the tunnel, flipping it through the gap. And he too fights his way up into the circle. Good display of his angles there.
Such a good hole for Niklas once again. I feel like he's throwing the same identical shot every round. Paul here a little bit higher and a lot of turn on the disc. He will have to be scrambling from there. As you can see the scorecard, he's having a bit of a rough stretch right now. This is really the stretch on the course that you need to birdie almost every hole on in order to stay competitive in the tournament.
And he's still right up there at 24 under, but this moment here important. Very awkward scramble shot, full patent pending. Well done to give himself a putt there that's manageable inside his 93% range. We see Jesse from the bushes, heavily obstructed, but he might just have a window here.
Very respectable effort there. I was almost expecting that one to go in with how he has been putting so far. But now Niklas having a chance to get one stroke back, and he doesn't miss.
That was a pure Anttila putt there. We go to Paul. He's done well on what is most commonly thought of as the most egregious error on this hole, getting deep into the woods early, right. Paul still managing to save his par. Pretty much best case scenario. After the tee shot, we go to Jesse for his 3 as well.
Good job there. And I have to go back to Paul's putt a little bit because he was actually very distracted. There was the chase card, I believe, or the third card, playing hole number 18, which is right behind this hole's green. So Paul had to reset a couple of times. Moving on to the most intimidating gap that we have left on the course, hole number 16. You have to hit this gap off the tee if you want to not lose a stroke on somebody on the card. Once you get out of the gap, it's a really easy hole. You just need some distance off the tee, hit that gap, and after that it's an open approach with the only difficulty being a slight right to left slope on the backside of the basket.
Yeah, I think that tee shot, of course, critical to still give yourself a birdie chance. The approach can really quickly slip away from players, though, on that slope. A little bit deceptive. We will have Eetu up first, and he does not catching it on that last tree to the right that he was trying to beat. Does not get out yet into the clear. We will see Niklas now.
Huge error, not huge by missing the line by a huge margin, but just barely missing it, and he's not gonna have a chance for the birdie. So if Jesse can put this out of the gap, it's gonna be an instant chance for him to get a stroke, but he has missed the gap as well. Made it out, but that's not within birdie distance from the green. I don't think so.
I would say he's still about 140 or so from the pin. Might be possible into circle 2, but it's really up to him now to manage that risk reward. We see Paul here removing some of the risk from play by just throwing a roller there. Prevents him from really kicking too aggressively in any direction. And Niklas here looking to get out of the woods. Really unfortunate timing on that first available. He had very tough footing with a lot of dead foliage. He actually spent quite a lot of time moving it before his throw, and unfortunately still does not find the result he was looking for. Eetu has smoked this, though.
Yeah, on the left side, I think he's going to be within a very long jump putt range. And let's see, Jesse, maybe he's thinking of reaching it with the forehand from here, because it seems like more of a backhand distance. But looks like he's not going to be quite happy with that shot, as Niklas will basically just have to pitch out from here. Really difficult to get to the basket from this position.
And a tough break for Niklas here. That was his third shot. Going to be left, I think, just outside circle 2. One of the longest putters that we see here in Europe, but even for him, extremely ambitious to try and save the par now. We go to Paul. Playing that flex into the hillside. Fantastic. And what good management of his skill set there with the roller and then the flex shot just makes this a really Ulibarri friendly hole.
And yes, so this is where the forehand ended up, and that's not a good approach. Looks like it has slipped out of his hand. The result really not that bad, as it got over that one lone bush on the fairway, but that could have been disastrous if it was just a few centimeters lower.
Yeah, that was really sweaty. I can't imagine that Jesse wanted to go so close to that bush, but the result is there for him, and Eetu as well. That long jump putt. Niklas here. For the par save, if he's considering running this, it looks like he is trying to give this a bid, and a good one at that. Lush grass catches him on the backside, keeping him close. We go now to Jesse.
Important putt for the par, and that's gonna be good right in the middle, as he's not gonna be losing a stroke to neither Niklas or Eetu, and possibly even getting a stroke on Niklas, but no problems there. Niklas, while he took the bogey here, you can see on the scoreboard he's still tied for the 5th place, and at 27 under he was tied for 2nd. So even though he's 3 strokes back of Jesse, he will have to think about finishing on the podium with at least 1 birdie in the last 2 holes.
And hole 17 might be where he finds that birdie. This 89-meter par 3. Players will throw a spike hyzer over this first tree line onto a blind mound, although the flag, extremely tall, a good indicator from the tee. You have OB lining the left side if you fade out too aggressively. A lot of players will choose something very overstable and try to spike down hard into the base of the hill. And a really good hole, because no matter how well you throw it, you're never really going to be parked. This will always leave you with a putt. To close out second to last hole, we see Roland from the chase card check-in.
And he has made his way under the hill. That's not going to be much more than 6 meters left. And Hjalte trying to do the same. A good call there on being a difficult hole to park, as only 5% of the field is parking this hole, even though 72% is in circle 1. And Hjalte being one of those 72%, just about 8 meters left. Easy work.
And also joining the 60% of players who found the birdie. So certainly an attackable hole despite its difficulties, and 2 really solid putts there as well. The elevated basket requiring a pretty pure commitment, particularly from that circle's edge range. And I think that's something our lead card is going to need here. Paul taking the box now.
Paul with a nice width on the shot, needs to just finish left now. Can't really tell where the disc has gone, but people are clapping, so it has to be pretty good. You could see out of the hand that it was going to be in the circle no matter what, just about if it was going to be 4 meters or 7 meters.
And Eetu here has gone slightly higher and slightly more inside. He crashes the short side of the hill. I think really where most of these players are intending to land. If you get the backside, you can get pushed into the rough behind it. Can definitely make your putt a little bit harder than you'd like to see, and that's a great example of it right there. Jesse hits the hill, but kicks off into the rough. He'll be left also about edge of circle, looking uphill.
And as we see Niklas throwing with the same overstable hyzer, where do you think this hole is going to rank in the easiest holes of the entire season, as it's almost averaging half a stroke below par?
Yeah, this is certainly one. I'd love to talk about the difficulty, but the tension is palpable here. Jesse for the birdie, and he is in the strong low right side to get himself to 9 under and 30 under for the tournament. The man is averaging double digits per round. Incredible.
Yeah, super impressive, especially considering, as Niklas makes a good putt here from 6 meters, considering that, as you can see on the scorecard, Eetu is tied for 2nd with the 27 under. So Jesse has nobody to worry about that is already finished, as Eetu is already in and at 28 par. So Jesse will have a 2-stroke lead going into the final hole.
And that extra birdie that he found here going to really alleviate some potential stress. Jesse knowing that he can simply play for par, and unless Eetu were to eagle the final hole, this may just be his tournament. But there's a long one between him and that Elias. Tell us about hole 18.
Yeah, long one for sure. 327 on the meters. First shot, you don't want to cover that much of it though, only about 80 meters will do. You can try to push it further, but that becomes risky. And on the second shot, you want to cut the distance down as much as you can while still staying on the very wide fairway. Really no going OB on the second shot usually. And third shot, if you're Jesse, leave it a little bit short. You don't want to risk that long side OB. Let's see, Roland Kaur here trying to chase down a potential podium place with a birdie here.
And I like the one angle shot here. Really not much need for any more. You have to be careful though playing the stability off the tee here. Going too far left is really the only significant danger. Or if you're pushing it that far, you can also go too far straight and long. But both Hjalta and Roland has given themselves open looks on this second shot into the fairway. As you mentioned, cut off as much distance as they can while remaining in bounds. Roland has done well there. I expect to see Hjalta just try and crush this one.
Yeah, Hjalta being not only the best player in Denmark, but also one of the furthest throwing players in the event. And that's a huge hyzer. He's going to have not much more than maybe 60 or 70 meters to the green. And let's see Roland here, trying to go for a big anhyzer. Hopefully this will pan out for him.
That was a low-speed disc, I think maybe even a putter. And he still gets himself up to a look to the elevated to close out an incredible round. Hjalta shaping the hyzer entrance to the green. Absolutely pins it to the crowd's delight to tap in his birdie. Roland, however, what a putt.
Yeah, just incredible. That was such a high-level putting performance by him, even making 3 outside the circle putts during the round. And as Hjalta tapping in for his 10 under round, very respectable. He's gonna be happy with the home crowd.
And we will see now the last card on the last hole of the 2024 Copenhagen Open. Paul is going to get us started off the tee, shaping that short leftwards shot that is just fine.
And Paul knows that if he wants even a chance to be on the podium in this tournament, he will have to get a birdie on this hole. Different for Eetu though, as he's trying to chase down the win. Only goal of his is try to make the birdie or even a potential throw-in eagle on this hole to put some pressure on Jesse. And that's going to be a good start.
And Jesse going with an unorthodox shot choice here. Throwing the forehand over the OB initially, fading back well in bounds. And I like that, particularly for him, but also just to mitigate any risk of even going near the OB left side. Why not just throw the forehand? And Niklas here. Smooth delivery into the sweet spot.
Yeah, I think, for Jesse, as much as we have talked about his backhand improving, I think in these high-pressure situations, he's still probably more comfortable with forehand. As we see Paul here just trying to throw a nice long shot. He's going to be on the left side of the fairway. A bit more distance to the green, but should be very manageable with a big forehand from there.
But that was a very solid shot from Paul. Niklas as well, just going to be playing this straight pushing hyzer flip. Also ending out to the left, very similarly to Paul's actually, both of those first 2 shots from each of those players.
We're going to have a good chance to see Eetu rip a shot here. Also a player who has decent distance on the backhand. He's not known for being the biggest or the longest thrower, but I can tell you, he does get some good speed on the disc. That's a good shot, and Jesse here needs to get inbounds.
Absolutely, I think that's the priority, and I'm surprised to see him play the backhand there, just as it does initially fly towards OB, but with so much height and stability, as well as the angle control, he brings it way back to safety, and the man is in control right now. Eetu here, his third shot. looking to position himself with a putt for the birdie. Remember that two-stroke swing is what would be needed to tie Jesse. Otherwise, he's playing for those second and third place positions. We go to Paul.
Going for that big forehand hyzer. Excuse me, not the hyzer. Surprisingly going for the inside flex. And this is looking extremely good. Look at that. He's going to be on the green, just inside the circle for a birdie. And that's the birdie that he will need if he wants to have a share of third place. Of course, expecting Eetu not to take a bogey on this hole.
And we see Jesse's third shot here. Not even needing to find the birdie, although I think he'll take a good look. That is exactly the shot we would hope to see from him, allowing him a jump putt to the pedestal to finish out his round with the par at 30 under. Important shot for Niklas here to try and take second, or at least compete for it.
And what a beautiful shot, going with that hyzer flip backhand, trusting the disc just fully. And he's gonna have, I don't want to say a tester putt, but really with this huge crowd, it's gonna be testing his nerves a little bit. And Eetu, let's see if he runs it. No, just putting it under the basket. He's gonna be very happy with either a second place or a tied second place if Niklas makes his putt.
We touched on it already, but at 16 years old, Eetu looking to find second at a Disc Golf Pro Tour event. Jesse doing what he needs to do, pitching up to the green, leaving himself a short putt. And in his palms right now, the tournament sits his for the taking.
And as we see the crowd gathering all around the 18th green, the energy is absolutely electric here on hole number 18. Let's see, Paul first to get to 27 under par.
So smooth, and what a tournament for Paul Ulibarri. Traveling overseas to come play this event. Was your leader in the first two rounds. Put together, although maybe not his best round here in round 3, still a very solid one, ending tied fourth at 27 under. Does birdie the last 3 holes for that position. We see Niklas here for the birdie.
Such a clean putt to finish out. And even though at some point in the tournament it looked like Niklas wasn't playing his best game, he's still somehow able to get the second place. But this is the man of the day, the man of the tournament, Jesse Nieminen from 2 meters, and he is your 2024 Copenhagen Open Elite Series Disc Golf Pro Tour Europe champion. Congratulations.
Immediately getting embraces from his card mates. What a fantastic moment for this young man right there. And what class. You see him immediately applauding for his competition as well, soaking in this moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause for the first MPO winner of the first Copenhagen Open DGPT Europe tournament from Finland, Jesse Nieminen!
History in the making here at the 2024 Copenhagen Open.
Thank you everyone for coming out. Thank you.
We are with Jesse Nieminen. You've just won the 2024 Copenhagen Open. Congrats to you, man. How do you feel?
Amazing. I still haven't figured it out that I won. I'm still in that mode to play good and stay cool and all that. So I think it will hit a bit later, but I'm so happy.
Would you say it's your biggest win?
Yes, it has been my biggest win. I had one win last year at THRU when it was the European Pro Tour, but now it's DGPT event. It couldn't have happened in a better time. When I didn't have my best play, and it was such a good time to win and play that well. So yeah, I'm super happy.
You're back to the States, in the next few days. How do you see the next few weeks after the win?
I think I'm ready to go again. I want to go again. I want to play, and because now we are going to a course that's long, and it's not my kind of play, but I want to improve on that. And I'm super excited for the events on there and events in Europe after that. So yeah, this was such a good boost. I feel like I'm back in it again, and yeah, I'm so excited.
Ben, thank you for your words. You make the whole continent proud, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I think Maxime really spoke for all of us when he said that Jesse is making the whole continent proud. And so are the other guys. Incredible tournament from Niklas and Eetu. And wow, so much talent in Europe. What an event.
Incredible way to kick off our season with first the Belgian and now Copenhagen Open in the book. I'm also proud of all of you viewers who stuck it out till the end joining us. We appreciate every single one of you. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also check us out on Patreon to support European disc golf coverage. We'll make sure to see you at the next one. Thank you, and goodbye.